The mailman froze when he saw the letter in his hand, a White House stamped envelope, addressed to the quietest man in the small town. Frank Morrison was 68 years old, a Vietnam veteran who had been living alone for 14 years. Ever since he lost his son David in Iraq in 2009, he hadn't spoken at length with anyone. Mailman Tom Henderson had been walking this route for 23 years, but he had never seen a letter like this. Tom's hand trembled as he placed the envelope in Frank's mailbox. In this small Ohio town, Millfield, official letters like this only brought bad news. Frank watched from his window as the mailman made his unexpected pause. Since he had taken off his military uniform for the last time years ago, his only connection to the government was his monthly pension check. When he held the letter in his hand, he felt its weight, thick quality paper, official seal, and underneath, handwritten, "To Mr. Morrison, personal and confidential." Frank's hands trembled as he opened the letter. The words inside would change his world forever. "Dear Mr. Morrison, I am aware of your son, Lieutenant David Morrison's service in Iraq. As a father myself, I know what such a loss means. I would like to speak with you. Tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m., I will knock on your door. Nia's Joe Biden." Frank read the letter 3 times. This couldn't be possible. Why? Why now? Why him? The next day, there was unexpected activity on the quiet streets of the town. Black SUVs, Secret Service agents, and then him. Joe Biden, the vice president, was knocking on Frank Morrison's cracked painted door. "Mr. Morrison," Biden said, "may we talk about your son?" Frank opened the door. What entered wasn't just a politician, but also a father who had lost his son. "My son was also a soldier," Biden said quietly. "Boo, he served his country just like your son, and I too am living the pain you are experiencing." Frank took a deep breath for the first time in years. "Nobody understands," he whispered. David was only 26 years old. He finished university and immediately enlisted. "He told me, 'Dad, I'm doing the right thing.'" Biden didn't take his eyes off Frank. Boo said the same thing. "Dad, this is my duty," he said. "After he returned from Iraq, he got cancer. When we lost him, no one could fill the emptiness inside me." 2 fathers sat quietly in the living room. David's military photographs hung on the walls. Young, proud, a face looking to the future with hope. Biden examined the photographs one by one. "He was a handsome boy," Biden said. "I can see your determination in his eyes." Frank felt his frozen heart beginning to thaw. "He was everything to me, Mr. Biden. After I lost my wife Sarah 15 years ago, only David remained. Now you feel alone." Biden completed the sentence. "And nobody understands because they haven't lived this pain." Frank nodded. Tears began to flow from his eyes. Biden stood up and sat next to Frank. "Mr. Morrison, let me tell you something. David's story doesn't end here. His legacy must continue to live." "What do you mean? How many families like you are there in Millfield Town?" "Families who lost their children in war, left alone, forgotten." Frank thought, "I know at least 10, maybe more." Biden stood up and looked out the window. "What if we supported them? What if we started a program that carries David's name?" Frank looked in amazement. "What kind of program?" "Gold Star Families Support Network. A network where families who lost their children support each other, share their stories, keep their memory alive." Biden took out a card from his pocket. "This card contains my personal number. I want to start this program, Frank, and I need your help." Frank took the card in his hand. "I'm just an old man. What can I do? Aren't you David's father? You carry your son's courage, and I'm here with Bo's courage too." That evening, Frank slept with hope for the first time in years. 72 hours later, everything began to change. Wednesday morning, there was an extraordinary scene on Millfield Main Street. 5 trucks, construction materials, and a group of workers were standing in front of the town's old library. Frank was watching from the window when his door was knocked. Biden was there again, but this time, he wasn't alone. Next to him were the Secretary of Defense, 2 generals, and a group of architects. "Frank," Biden said, smiling, "it's time to lay the foundation of the David Morrison Memorial Center. This fast." Frank couldn't believe it. "Sometimes, Frank, change can't wait. Too many families are suffering. Too many stories are being forgotten." That day, the entire town came out. Frank Morrison, who had lived quietly for 14 years, had suddenly become the center of the town. His neighbors, old friends, Everyone who knew David was there. Biden extended the microphone to Frank. Would you tell David's story? Frank took the microphone trembling. For the first time in years, he was going to speak in front of a crowd. David. His voice broke. He took a breath. David was only 26 years old, but had the wisdom of a 40-year-old man. Dad, he would say, if I don't go, someone else's child will have to go. The crowd listened silently. He wasn't just my son. He was this town's son, this country's son, and his story must not be forgotten. Applause erupted, but Frank wasn't finished yet. Today we are here not just for David, but for all our lost children. This center will be a place where we share our pain, keep our memories alive, and support each other. Biden approached and touched Frank's shoulder. If David were here today, how proud he would be of his father. The center construction took 6 months. Every week Biden would call to ask about the situation. Sometimes he would come and work together with Frank. On opening day, 500 people gathered. Gold Star families came from everywhere. Frank was no longer alone. While Biden was giving his speech, he said, "This center is not just a building. This is proof that love is stronger than death." The legacy of David Morrison and Beau Biden will continue to live here. That day, Frank stood in front of David's photograph. "My son," he whispered, "your story will never be forgotten." 2 years passed. The David Morrison Memorial Center reached 50 branches nationwide. Thousands of families found support here. Frank was now 70 years old but had never felt this alive. Every day he came to the center, talked with families, listened to stories. After Biden became president, he made his first visit to Millfield. "Frank," he said, "you showed how to preserve David's pride. Now all of America knows that a father's love is stronger than death." Frank smiled. "Mr. President, David always wanted to be part of something bigger. I think we succeeded." Biden hugged Frank. "Yes, Frank. You both succeeded." That evening, Frank visited David's grave. A new plaque had been added to the headstone. "David Morrison, not just a son, but an inspiration." "My son," Frank said, "your story doesn't end here. Every day is a new beginning." And in the small town of Millfield, a letter that a mailman had left in amazement became the beginning of a nationwide movement. Because sometimes, the greatest changes begin with the smallest gestures, and a father's love never truly dies. Final message. This story reminds us that our losses can isolate us, but when we share them, they become our greatest strength. David Morrison may be someone we never met, but his legacy belongs to all of us. Because heroism doesn't just live on the battlefield, it lives in keeping the memory of our loved ones alive. If this story touched you, please share it, because every share keeps the memory of a forgotten hero alive.